Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yep.
So this is another great episode. What up, everyone out there in the world in terms of all the sports things that are happening? I am one of your hosts of the show, Hayes, aka Shifty, with the homie, the one that knows all sports all day, every day, the degenerate, Steven at Steven_Springs. What up, man? What's up with the
What
quick
up?
slants?
What up? Why am I a degenerate? Because I started gambling again?
No, because if you all remember last week on the show, he said he used to be a degenerate gambler. So
Oh,
we
well,
had to bring that back.
I'm going back to my roots. Yo, that quick $25 deposit really gets you going, man.
I know.
So they give you those free that $200 worth of bets. That really
Yo,
also free bets, dude.
exactly.
Free
I
25.
know.
That's crazy. So shout out to DraftKings.
Shout out.
Quick slants. Got one more this week, and then I'm gonna take a little break between now and the bowl game, which is January 2nd. Penn State's going to the Rose Bowl to play Utah. Shout out to Utah
Shout out.
for knocking off USC. But not shout out to USC for losing and allowing Ohio State to get in the playoffs. Talk about that. Talk about the Heisman, how Stetson Bennett is a Heisman finalist, but your boy Sean Clifford has more touchdown passes than Stetson Bennett. So let's just call it what it is. And not too much Penn State football. Transfer portal is hot and heavy. There's over 1,000 names in the transfer portal, bro.
God damn.
Bro, so you don't have Instagram, but I follow this Instagram account for the transfer portal news. It's just like a random college football web account. And dude, it's like every hour there's like 10, like 15 guys jumping in the portal. And like some schools have like 10, 11 guys that are in the portal right now. Clemson has, I think it was like 10. Maryland's got a bunch. It's crazy, dude. Crazy.
Yes.
A lot of it down, not to go on a tangent, but a lot of it is so like with the COVID year, whoever came in or whoever had was playing during 2020, didn't matter what year you were, it didn't count. So like a lot of those guys that's why Sean Clifford was able to come back for 17th season because COVID didn't count. So it's like a lot of guys now that are transferring, it's not like those 1 year guys, like the grad transfers. You're getting a lot of those guys who are, they still got 3 years left of eligibility. Some guys maybe 4, whatever. So it's a lot of young guys in there. And you'll see some grad transfers, but mostly those guys who have like 3 years left. So we'll get into that. Not, like I said, not a lot of Penn State stuff on the podcast this week, but last episode till the bowl game or around that time.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to touch on 3 college football things that Steven brought up. Then we'll go into the spaces and crypto and stuff. The first one is in terms of transfer portal and also eligibility. UVA has announced that all the players will have an additional year of eligibility. The part I'm bringing this up for is because some people are so stupid. They said, why are they going to have another year of eligibility? And if you are any human being, you should know what happened at UVA. That's a major reason why, especially because they canceled the rest of the season. The other thing is, and we'll touch on this later because I want to bring up Stetson Bennett because he damn near is as old as us and he is still playing in the college football, although he's really the same age as Lamar Jackson. So that should just tell you things.
Lamar Jackson won the Heisman in 2016, and Bennett is still up for the Heisman 6 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nuts.
So then the other one, and I'm not normally the one that talks a lot of college football. It's normally Steven that does it. But one thing I did get right in terms of college football was Clemson's quarterback. I told y'all this man was not going to be there.
Man.
Like I watched the games. If you watched any of the games, you knew they wanted to go with the other quarterback, the young one that was there. Yep, Cade Klubik.
5-star.
And that was the big thing because I would watch the games, and I only watch like Clemson games because a lot of my family lives in South Carolina. So of course they know either like the Gamecocks or the Tigers, and that's like the big thing down there. Although they normally live near Wofford, so they would see the Panthers practice down there.
Good baseball team.
Yeah, so that's the big reason why I would watch Clemson. You would always see them driving on the highways. And I was like, yo, this quarterback's not going to be there. They believed like, oh, he'd be the next after Trevor Lawrence. They lied to y'all. But what's up?
So it's Penn State I keep hitting this thing. Penn State and Clemson have the same quarterback situation going on right now.
Yes.
They both have I'm not DJ. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce his last name.
No.
He was the number 1 recruit in the country. Some sites, top 5 recruit, 5-star, all that. Sean Clifford was not. And DJ came in after Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. So, he came after Trevor Lawrence. But then they both have this 5-star behind him.
Yes.
And it's like, do you want to sacrifice maybe going 10-2, 11-1? Both teams had a chance to do that. Clemson won the ACC, but like you had this 5-star guys behind you. The guys ahead of them are definitely dipping out or done. So yeah, always interesting situations. But
Yeah,
you're watching a lot of college football these days, man.
I am. So you know who the reason is for it. It's two different things, and I'll touch on it. I don't want to be too much on sports, but there are like a couple of reasons why I've been able to do it. Just talking about the spaces really quick. We're on episode 38, which is a huge thing. So thank you to everyone that's continued to end up listening and watching.
Shout out.
I've been slacking recently because I've only had maybe 2 or 3
Slacking?
guests on the show.
Oh,
Yeah, slacking. But I will start to get back up on it. I have a lot of different ideas that I want to end up doing, especially going into the holidays and the new year. So we're really not going anywhere, especially with Steven and I going into year 2 with this. So I'm looking forward to how that's going to go. Couple of things in terms of NFTs and cryptos and finance. The first thing is I was holding a transdimensional famous Fox Federation. So one of the Foxes, I held it from 13 up to 18. So that was a decent profit of 5 Solana. That was there. The other thing is I did pick up a Ute. So for everyone that's out there knows that I go in and out of like the DeGods and the Utes collections.
like Utah?
And no, close, very close. But it's Y00TS. So it's their play on the 2 O's. So yeah, so I have one of the Utes. I'm looking to pick up probably 2 more, if anything, but also the DeGods collection is now the floor price is sitting at over 400 Solana. There was a time when the whole SBF situation happened that it dropped to less than 160 Solana. And for it to be back up over 400 again, shout out to anybody that picked up any of them. Speaking of anybody's, they have their partnership mint that's happening on Friday with anybody's and Toys R Us. So that's another one that we want to see what ends up happening over there. Some other things, just getting into stocks on that side. Carvana shares are tanking. For everyone out there that knows, it's basically the vending machine for cars. Their stock is tanking and it's potentially going bankrupt. That's one of those things that it was only hot during COVID. There was no other reason for it. Nobody else needs to end up going to the vending machine to end up just picking up a car. You can just go to a dealership now. So they're not really going to make it. I can promise you all, it's not
a great idea though.
Best. It was.
Great,
it was
great
something
idea.
that was
It looked cool. It looked cool as shit.
It did. Yeah.
Very futuristic though. It's almost like it was almost like ahead of its time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's like 10 years, 10, 15 years too early. Because everyone's going to want that car, like, just like in the future, everyone's going to want to just like boom, boom, boom. But people still like shopping for cars and like getting in different cars and trying it out and shit. So that's the wave of the future, but they were a little bit too early.
What will happen is I feel as though there will be someone else just like them, similar to the situation with Vine, and now we have TikTok. There's Carvana now, and we'll have something else down the line. But what they need is a lot more of the virtual gaming and metaverse stuff to end up taking off for them. If you think about Facebook's stuff that they have, what is it called again? The goggles and everything, you know,
the virtual.
Yeah, my brother has one and I can't think of it, but for everyone,
Facebook,
you guys will know.
About Facebook?
Yeah, so Facebook has the goggles that you can end up playing and everything with. But the other part, the reason why I brought that up is when you can go into the virtual world and you can actually be in it, that'll be something big when it comes to Carvana, because then you can end up selecting your vehicle there and then you'll know exactly what it's like when you end up getting in person. The next thing I want to end up bringing up is just
the MetaQuest.
No, close. It's not that though, but it's like the hot thing. I'll look it up in a second. The other thing is, so
Oculus.
Oculus, that's what it is.
Yeah, you can do basketball games through that too.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've seen it before, and that'll be what's big for Carvana or other companies like that, when you can actually use an Oculus or some sort of virtual AI and you can be in the vehicle without being in it, then you'll know what it is. So you can use the vending machine and bring it to your house. Until then, people still got to go in person. So activist investors are calling for Larry Fink, who's the CEO of BlackRock, to step down because of ESG. First off, I promise you he's not stepping down for this shit. Like, ESG is a big topic, but these activists are not going to kick the CEO out of his spot. Another thing, so I'm doing a lot more dividend investing. For those of you that don't know, that's when different stocks pay out kind of either a quarterly or annual small dividend to their holders. And Southwest has reinstated their dividends, which is a good thing. Also on the show, probably on a monthly basis, I'll start announcing different dividend stocks that I think are good or dividend stocks that I think people should end up looking into or ones that I'm invested in. So I'm going to continue to work on that as a portfolio because that's an easy passive income that I think a lot of people should take advantage of. I'll let you all know like what percentage yield that I look for within the different dividends as well. Going over into the sports, and this is what I wanted to end up touching on. So we'll start with some of the hot hitters and we'll get into college football and why I've been watching a lot of college football lately. But the first one, I got to start with it because the Bronx Bombers are going to be here for a while because they just signed the Mr. $360 million for 9 years, although they paid too much, but they had to do it because when you heard what the Padres were doing and what they were doing over in San Francisco Giants, you understand why. But this is one of those things the Yankees had to pay it. Like he had a historic year this year without the steroids. And so he had to do it. Of course, then you see him in all these different cities. He was just in Tampa. He was just in another city. He was in California.
Giants, right?
Yeah, he was with the Giants. Last minute, they said he was with the Padres. Apparently, the Padres offered him $410 million, which is insane money. And that means they said this, and it's just insane when you think about it because he's going to be paid $40 million a year for 9 years, or if you break it down, they said over $100,000 per day. And I was like, you just think about what that is. That was one big thing.
He's Cubs, 30, by the way.
Yeah, he's 30.
He's 30. So
and baseball,
9 years.
So he's all of his 30s.
So he's got, I mean, prime is 32.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say he gets like 6 years, maybe. That's like fine. That's good. Like at that level. You know,
yeah,
that's ideal. What happens? So
it's very similar to like Patty Mahomes' contract. All they really want is at least one championship. If you get one championship or another historic year out of Aaron Judge, they'll consider that contract worth it. The other thing is Cody Bellinger,
but they got to win a World Series though, right?
Yeah, they have to win the World Series. They can't just like breathe it. They have to actually. Way around. Yeah. No. The other thing that I want to touch on is because it's the neighbors down the street with the New York Mets, they end up signing Justin Verlander.
Wow,
so they have Verlander and Max Scherzer in their rotation, which is insane. And then they just added someone else that I don't remember who it is, but they have 3 pitchers now within their rotation.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's a big thing. That's a lot of money too. But we will stick on baseball because my man on the other side of the screen, they just got the #1 pick.
Yes, sir. Yo. Yes, sir. Let's go.
They got the #1
Let's go
pick.
Bucks. The Bucks start here, baby.
Exactly.
Let's go.
So we'll see how that ends up going.
Yo, tanking works,
I promise
bro.
you I'm not watching that.
Tanking works.
Hell yeah, it does.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, whoever we draft, we're going to trade him in 4 years.
Yep, exactly. That's how it is.
For nothing either.
Yep.
For dollars on the penny.
I'll never forget, and I tell this to people all the time, I used to really like the Pirates. When they had McCutchen, when they had Jason Bay, those used to be 2 of my favorite players.
Fun fact, Jason Bay hit 0 home runs in the home run derby when he was in it.
No,
I think it's like the only time it's ever been done. Of course,
exactly. So got to go to my other favorite sport, being FIFA World Cup. And let me just tell y'all, because normally people, so Steven's big when it comes to watching a lot of college football. I think I probably watched every single game except one game. And the last games that have happened were probably some of the best ones. First off, there was the biggest fuck you to Cristiano Ronaldo because they benched him because of some look. Cristiano Ronaldo, for anyone out there that doesn't understand, he's one of the most selfish soccer players, aka football players I've ever seen. If you all didn't see it when Portugal was playing, I think they were playing Korea, and he thought he hit a header, like to hit it in the goal, but it was Bruno Fernandes that actually hit it. And they did petitions and everything for him to have a goal. I'm like, bro, Bruno Fernandes is on the verge of getting a hat trick, and you're over here caring about your one goal that really didn't touch your hair. They're like, no, if you look the little centimeter, like it touched this speck of his hair. I was like, all right, y'all need to relax. They end up giving it to Bruno Fernandes. But the other part is Portugal played Switzerland, and they won 5-1, which was a big game because that was Ramos had a hat trick. So that's the first hat trick in the World Cup this year.
Shout out to Cameroon, right?
Yeah. No, Morocco ended up just winning.
Oh, what did I say?
Cameroon. You're close. Yeah, it was an African nation. So I was really happy about that. We got an African nation. And the biggest part about that is why I'm so hyped is it was really going to be just straight South America against Europe. If Morocco did not win, that's how it was going to be. So everyone in the world is basically going to be rooting for Morocco unless you're in Europe or if you're in South America. There's a bunch of big matchups that are about to happen or potential to happen. Argentina is potentially going to be able to play Brazil, which is a big one to see Neymar against Messi. The Netherlands are the only ones that can stop that matchup from really happening because the Netherlands will be playing Argentina, and then Brazil is going to be playing. More than likely, Brazil will get through in their game. On the other side, Portugal is going to play Morocco, which will be a big game. And the huge match of the final 8 is going to be England and France. So that's going to be really big for people out there because you have Griezmann, you have Giroud, you have Mbappe that's going to be on France. And on the other side, man, you got the brothers over there. England got a lot of them. They got Sterling that's over there. You got Marcus Rashford, Harry Kane. I got to shout out to him. You have Saka.
Yeah, you got to go in a little bit.
Yeah. So Kane just scored one last week, which is a big one for him. He's one of like the few players in this that he really can't do any wrong. So I'm happy for England. I'm happy for France. I personally am going for France because I'm a big Mbappe fan. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Don't want to talk too much more about the World Cup, but tune into those games because they'll be happening this weekend. And as we speak, the Clippers and the Magic just went into overtime, and I don't know how that happened. The next thing I want to end up bringing up before we go into college football is Cristiano Ronaldo's contract that may or may not happen. It is supposed to be $200 million per year for 2 years. And the big part about that is it just shows you the amount of money that Saudi Arabia has, because if you remember, look what they're doing with the Live Golf tournaments. It's all from the same place. Like, they just got dumb money that's out there. So just keep that in mind. And now I want to go over into the topic that Steven started off with, and we'll continue with the college football playoffs. So one, can you explain to us the Rose Bowl and how this happened from your topic last week? And two, talk about the playoffs as to the 4 teams.
All right, so we'll start with the playoffs. Playoffs are Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2, TCU number 3, Ohio State number 4. So Georgia and Ohio State are playing in the Peach Bowl, and the Michigan TCU are playing in the Fiesta Bowl. So USC was ranked number 4 heading into last weekend. If they would have won, they would have been in the playoffs, obviously, no matter what. But if they lost, Ohio State was going to jump them, and then USC was not. They lost to Utah. So USC is playing in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl against Tulane. So they still got a New Year's Six game, but I mean they were right there. So then Utah won the Big 12, so they jump up and go to the Rose Bowl, and then Penn State being the next best Big 10 team, not in the playoffs, we're going to the Rose Bowl. So that's a pretty dope. Like, going to like the Cotton Bowl or the Orange Bowl is like, it is what it is. Like, it's nice because it's a New Year's Six game, but it's like kind of whatever. But the Rose Bowl just has like a better ring to it. And like, it's so, hoping we get the W, obviously. Utah's pretty solid. Both teams are pretty much the same. But
shout out to Cam Rising.
Yeah. And then they're that's the quarterback, right?
Yep. That's cute.
Who's that? Dalton Kincaid, the tight end, the most tight end named I've ever heard in my life.
It is. Yeah.
But it's the last like traditional Rose Bowl too, because next year it's in the playoffs, and the year after that, and then the year after that we go to 12 teams. So the Rose Bowl is not even gonna like be a thing anymore.
So what are your thoughts personally on it expanding to 12 teams? Because I know some people are for it, some people are against it. Of course, that means that's going to be more football being played. Do you think all the players will always play in the games now because they are starting to declare?
I think you'll still have a good split because I don't know. I think maybe more guys will be inclined to play because it will be for a national title. I mean, that's gonna be a lot of players, though. Like that's gonna be a lot of guys who could potentially play 3 more games. I guess it would be 3 more games because if you don't get a bye week, then 4 games, I guess. So 4 more games on your season, and there's how many chances in that 4 game span do you have to bust your knee, do whatever, and then you're done. So, but then you're gonna be so worn down though after, if you're like a senior and like then you go to the playoffs, or like you're a freshman now and like you go to the playoffs like 4 years in a row and you play a couple extra games, you're gonna be beat up like heading into the league. So I feel like, long term wise, this is thinking way outside the box. Like there's gonna be so many more guys probably going into the league hurt, and like, I mean, we know how that goes. So that
Yeah.
could screw up, drafting and all that kind of good stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how how it plays out. They're gonna get a lot of money, obviously, but I think there's gonna be some consequences in terms of injuries and things like that. And dudes losing a lot of money, but then you go to NIL conversation, these guys getting, now these guys are gonna get those top players. You'll probably see NIL deals at the end of the season, go, for going in the off season or whatever into the playoffs, get, 5 mil or whatever. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's gonna be crazy though. It's gonna be nuts
Yeah.
over the
That's
next like 10 years.
So that's the big thing, because if you remember last week when we were talking, the Rose Bowl was in between. We knew it was going to happen, but it wasn't locked in at that point. But the Rose Bowl being in it is a big thing for 12 teams. That's just a lot more football for them. And we see what happened to Jamison Williams. He just now is coming back, and he's not even fully himself yet. So we can probably see that from other players that are going to happen. Of course, we saw like N'Kobe Neal's whole situation, how some teams didn't want to pick him up. We're going to see more of that, but if they have the NIL money, they might be more okay, which is a good reason why I think the 12 teams is fine now. If this happened before this whole NIL thing, I think you would see a lot of players not necessarily want to do it. And that's my other thing, because one of the wide receivers for Ohio State is not playing in
Jackson
the
Smith and
games.
Jigba.
Yep. What are your thoughts when players end up declaring for the draft and don't end up playing, but also Kentucky's quarterback did the same thing?
Yeah, shout out to Will Levis, the homie.
Yep.
Former Penn State product. Um, I think like there was a tight end, All-American tight end from Michigan a couple years ago, Jake Butt, who played in the Orange Bowl, which it was just a New Year's Six game, tore his ACL. And I think he tore it again and once he got to the league. Um, you know, Saquon Barkley played in his bowl game, didn't get hurt. He played obviously very limited snaps, but I think he saw like 135 yards on the ground. So,
limited snaps.
shout to the homies. I know, it kind of like Joey Porter Jr., Penn State. He's not playing in the Rose Bowl.
Team All-American.
Yeah, and he's probably gonna be a first round pick. So I mean, I get it. Like Penn State's left tackle Olu Fashanu was a projected top 10 pick on some mock drafts, but he's coming back, but he's probably not gonna play in the bowl game because he's been hurt. And they say he's healthy, but like long term wise, I'd rather him not play in the Rose Bowl and play for the next season when we can potentially win a national title or whatever. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't hate on these guys for not playing the bowl game and potentially risking injury. What are the odds though you get hurt? Probably pretty small. Like, there's not a torn ACL in every single game, so it doesn't happen that often. But again, would you want to risk, potentially $10 to $20 million? Probably not.
Exactly for that. Yeah,
probably not. But these, the fans get all pissed about it, obviously. But I mean, the dudes got to do what's best for them and take, get ready for the money. I mean, if they're like a third round pick projected, like, nah, dude, go play.
Get exactly. You could do that.
Go back in there, bro.
But the first rounders,
first round picks, millions. That's a little different. I can see that. Will Levis, chances are he gets hurt in a bowl game, not, less than a running back, but he's projected somehow. He's a projected top 10 pick. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how that's possible.
I'm surprised at that.
Him and Sean Clifford had the identical numbers this season, and Penn State's 10-2, and Kentucky's like 8-4.
I'm gonna say is that
these people, man.
So we brought that up because now we're gonna translate over into the majors in this world, NFL, and the ones that are getting paid. We do our weekly game picks, and this one we're gonna end up being able to give some commentary through it. Last week, Steven and I both end up guessing 10 games correctly, and we only got 2, 3, 4, 5 wrong. So out of 15 games, we were both 10-5, which is good. Steven actually has been on a little hot streak because this is back-to-back weeks of him guessing 10 games in a row. So winning 10 games correct. So the first one, and this would have been a great game. So shout out to everyone that sold their tickets for this game early, because it's not a good game anymore at all. The Raiders and the Rams.
Yeah, this game is not going to be good. Is Baker Mayfield going to start?
Yo, look, we told y'all this man's career was over when he went to Carolina. They said he's not going to start, but he's going to be in an emergency role. I listened to something that Sean McVay was on.
Emergency rule.
Yeah.
I'll go with the Raiders, I guess.
As crazy as this is, there's only like one. This is probably one of the worst Super Bowl hangovers I've seen in a minute. This way, but like they're just all getting injured. Cooper Kupp's done for the year. Matthew Stafford's done. Aaron Donald just hang it up. It's fine. Jalen Ramsey's still trying to be out there doing things. And normally Jalen Ramsey would have a good year, but it's like he has no real help. Him and Bobby Wagner just got to go out there every single game.
And isn't Aaron Donald out?
Aaron Donald's out with high ankle sprain. So they're both gone. I have the Raiders in this one. I think it's too late though for the Raiders to make any real noise, but Josh Jacobs is trying to get his money. And the Raiders messed up on that one because Jacobs will get his money somewhere. I don't know where it is, or I don't even know if the Raiders will have the money to pay him. The next one is Jets Bills. Jets are going the wrong way.
They are.
Fast.
Yeah, I'll go with the Bills.
So I'm going with the Bills as well. If you remember in the beginning of the season, Steven was saying Jets, Jets all the time. And they were doing good. I think it was a lot of quarterback stuff, but also it reminds me of how like the Angels start and how the Kings start back in the day, Kings. And then they just fall off the cliff. It seems like the Jets are in a similar situation. Their defense is still good, but it just seems as though that offense.
They have so much talent on offense too.
They do. They do need to get another quarterback. Don't put Zach Wilson back in there ever again. Mike White is a decent backup. You have a good quarterback that's a championship winning quarterback that you don't want to put in the game. If you do that, that's a game manager. I have the Bills in this one. I always got to go with Josh Allen. The next one is interesting. He did not do good in his first game, but the Browns and Bengals.
Fun stat I saw. Joe Burrow is 3-0 against the who they just beat against the Chiefs in his career. 0-4 though against the Bengals, or 0-5 against the Bengals. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals on that. I saw that if I'm going with the Bengals, but just a fun stat I saw. Shout out to the boys.
I'm going with the Bengals. Another reason why I'm going with the Bengals are they have to keep winning because the Ravens keep winning, and they're both trying to fight for that AFC East top spot. It's going to be a tough competition for the wild card spot, so the Bengals just have to keep winning. The next one, I don't really think we need to talk about it, but we will. The Cowboys and the Texans. The Texans are going back to Davis Mills. Don't really think that matters.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
So if I had to take a guess, I'm going with the Cowboys. The next one is a surprise one, and I'm trying to put in as many bets as possible. The Vikings and the Lions. They have the Vikings as the underdogs.
I don't know. I'm going to go with the Vikings. No one can stop. What's his name?
Jefferson.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. Yeah, no one can stop him right now.
No, and the biggest thing is about the cough. The biggest thing about that is that was probably one of the most even trades I've ever seen. Justin Jefferson and Stephon Diggs trade. They both really win. Only thing is, no one has won a championship, so it's even until whoever wins a championship.
So he has this season he's got 1,200 yards, only 6 touchdowns. Huh?
Really?
Damn! I thought he definitely had more than. I think he had closer to 10. Huh? That's like Julio Jones. Yards. Julio Jones has a shit ton of yards, like not a lot of touchdowns though.
No, wow. I'm excited to talk about that Bucs Niners game because I have a lot to say about the GOAT. But Jags Titans.
Jags Titans. I'll go with the Jags. That's a shitty game.
That's another rough game.
Titans are disappointing.
Also, they are, but what's so crazy is that division just is always a disappointing division. I honestly think that is probably one of the worst divisions in the history of the NFL because they never have multiple teams that are competing. It's always just one, and the rest suck. Back in the day, it was the Colts, and the rest sucked. Then it became the Titans, and the rest just are not good. I'm going with the Titans on this one. I only think that King Henry's going to come back to earth. He has to come back sometime or another, unless he's just weathering down for the rest of the season. Eagles, Giants.
I'm going to go Giants. I'm going to say Saquon Barkley has a big game, like almost 200. 200 all purpose for
Okay.
Saquon and 2 touchdowns.
So I could believe that. I don't want to do this because it might go ugly, but I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I feel Daniel Jones will have one of those random ass games where he should have a good game, but it doesn't go the right way.
This is
But the
also
other part,
another game where AJ Brown could have a monster day.
he went dumb last week, and
Yeah,
they
he did.
force fed him on purpose. They made
Yeah,
sure that he had a great game against his old team. But I'm going
yeah.
with the Eagles on this one. It'll be good to see Miles Sanders against Saquon Barkley. The
Mm-hmm.
next one, Ravens Steelers.
Steelers. I know I said, dude,
Wow.
I can't pick the Ravens. You kidding me? Are you kidding me?
So
Does not
I have to
matter.
choose the
And
Ravens.
Lamar Jackson's out.
That's
He's
a
out
huge thing.
1 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's wow.
A
That's
PCL tear
perfect to let
or
us know.
sprain or whatever.
Yeah, it's a PCL sprain. The big part about that is
This is
everyone
in
was
the Berg
saying
too.
he
This is
shouldn't
this
have
is in
played.
Pittsburgh. This is
Yes.
in Pittsburgh.
So if you all remember the last time Pittsburgh and the Ravens played, there was an
Mm-hmm.
interception in the end zone, which should not have happened because John Harbaugh decided to not just play it safe, and he decided to go crazy. And the quarterback of that game was actually Tyler Huntley. So we'll see if what happens different this game. I got the Ravens, Chiefs and Broncos.
Phew, man,
This
this
is
one could get
tough.
ugly, bro.
This one could get really
This one
ugly.
could get ugly real
I
quick
know.
too. Travis Kelce might have 200 yards in this game.
He really could.
I'll go. I'm gonna say Chiefs win a blowout.
So I have the Chiefs in that one. I can't even say the Broncos. The Broncos just are going the wrong way too. I don't really know what happens. And the
Quickly,
worst part is they said the Cardinals and the Broncos have to stay with their quarterback regardless. It's either get rid of the coach or get rid of the quarterback. Someone got to go. And you got too much money to the quarterback. Next game, and we'll stay here for a second, but the Bucks and 49ers.
Niners. Their defense is amazing, but Jimmy G's out the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So you have Brock Purdy.
So a big thing that everyone should pay attention to is there's been a stat that the 49ers, the past like 3 to 4 games, have not allowed a point in the third quarter. They did it again last week as well.
Bosa's looking like the defensive player of the year.
He is. That's a huge one. They were showing stats between him and Micah Parsons, and it's like the stats are showing you it should be Bosa the way he's ended up doing it. I have to give flowers and shout outs to Tom Brady because he proved the last game that he is a GOAT. Like there's no other quarterback after what he did, although it was the Saints, but the fact that he just scored 14 straight points that fast and everyone in the stadium knew it was going. Everybody around the world knew it was Tom Brady time. And
did you watch the whole game?
Yes, it was not
he
good in the
looked
beginning.
like trash all night.
Horrible.
All night.
Yes.
But he does that, but he did that in the Super Bowls too. Looked pretty solid, but like when it matters most, dude,
he switches and he gets
out of the way.
excited and happy for that. What I will say is they got to get rid of their tackle. Because he
Donovan
has
Smith.
so my gosh.
Shout
he
to
has
the
so
boys, bro.
many
Shout to
so
the
many holding calls. Like it's not even funny.
25, I heard. Is that right?
Yes.
Jeez.
And it pissed me off because he had one when Chris Godwin scored a touchdown. And in 3 of my fantasy leagues, I have Chris Godwin. So for that to get pulled back, I was like, God damn. And then it just goes to Rachaad White, which I'm happy to end up winning the game because I had money on the game. So I'd rather take the money than just a fantasy football game. But Panthers and Seahawks. So I have the Seahawks in this one. Another fact, next week I'm actually going to be in Charlotte for everyone out there that's going to be down there. They texted me, some are like the season ticket salespeople. They asked me if I wanted to go on a private tour of the stadium. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm not going to say no. What?
Sure.
So I don't even have season tickets there, but their season is so bad that they're trying to figure out ways to get people to purchase tickets for next year. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Next one. Yeah. Next, I have the Seahawks, Dolphins, Chargers.
Dolphins.
So although I am another holder of the Chargers, I can't choose the Chargers. Like, I don't think I'm going to be one next year. The Chargers are not good. I got the Dolphins in this one, and I think that they're going to redeem themselves from last week. Last one, Pats, Cardinals. Really?
Yeah. They get one of those wins that they're like a team desperately needs on a big stage. Yeah.
So I'm going with the Patriots. Most of the games that Steven and I chose this week, we had a lot of the same picks except 1 or 2. So I'm going to go with the Pats in this one to see how the records end up going. So I told Steven before the show even started that I had a question for him. And we haven't done like situation or scenarios in a while, but I thought this was a good one. So and I'll give you all the information. What is the toughest sport you feel to come back in? Being down 20 in basketball, being down 5 runs in baseball, being down 2 goals in soccer, or being down 14 in football?
What's the hardest thing to do?
Toughest one to come back in.
I would say, depending on the time, I guess, but I would say it's 2 goals in soccer.
Really? Okay.
What was the baseball one? Down how many runs?
So baseball was down 5 runs.
I mean, if it's the bottom of the ninth, no, I think soccer's probably extremely hard to get 2 goals. You know, if you're down 2-0, 2-0, sorry, like if you're down 2-0 with like the entire game to play, that's still like tough.
That's still tough.
You know, this seems like it took the USA a long time to score a fucking goal, bro. So yeah, I would say soccer is tough. 14 points in football can be done in like 2 plays.
Tom Brady did it.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say soccer. What do you think?
So I was going back and forth all day between baseball and soccer. Basketball, we've seen it done before. Football, we could see that happen. I was personally leaning a little bit towards baseball because if you're only believing in one person, let's say Aaron Judge got to wait 8 more players before he can hit again. It's not like he can end up hitting again.
Yeah.
And down 5. But we've also seen 5 runs happen like really fast. On the other side with soccer, if you've seen how tough it is for people to score a goal, they can't just like run down the field or the pitch and then score. They have a whole setup that they almost do every single time. Like they have to reset and kick it around to end up scoring. So that was mine. So we basically have the same thing. And with that, what you got?
Shout out to Anthony Davis for dropping 55 and 17 against the Wiz on Sunday. That's dope. Yeah, that's really about it. Nothing really going on. No, yeah. I'm good.
So on the flip side, I'll say shout out to Anthony Davis and LeBron for sitting out tonight.
Yeah, oh come on, dude. They said Toronto, no thanks.
They said, nah, we're good. We played the game we needed to play. So now
AD messed up a parlay I had last night.
I believe it.
I was AD combined 40 rebounds and points, and LeBron 30 points combined rebounds and points, and AD was out after 8 minutes with the flu.
With 1 point. Yeah.
With 1 point, bro. Also lowered his average too.
By a lot of
significantly, which sucks. He was cooking for a hot second.
The other thing I want to bring up, and then I'll end up saying mine, is the Clippers have lost tonight, and I'm a little annoyed because they lost to the Magic, and they had Kawhi and Paul George playing. I don't care what anybody says. They were winning, and then they went into overtime with the Magic, and they lost. So mine is just shout out to, so I did an interview for a job internally with my company, and the question they asked is, so we looked at your resume, and do you know Taylor Heineke? I was like, do I know him? Oh, hold on, we could go talk to him in a couple of minutes if we want to.
There we go.
But no, I was like, yeah, no, I went to school with him, and like I knew who he was. But other than that, shout out to everyone that's out there. Until next time, we out.
Wait, not yet. Paul George had 11 points. Yes. Kawhi had 14. So that's why they lost. Banchero had 23, and Bobo had 20 and 9. So there we go. All right, now we can go.
We out.
Peace.